When Jungi and Ryuichi Sakamoto, Jungi's childhood hero, met, Sakamoto played something for Suga. Jungi played something he prepared for Sakamoto. And then Sakamoto took a part of what Jungi created and mixed it with his own. It was beautiful. If love can be a melody, it would have been that piece. When Sakamoto finished, he stood up, smiled at Jungi, and very casually said, "For you." And I cried. And at first, I didn't really understand what made me cry, but I realized that many of us rarely tell the people that we love that many of the things that we do for them. And maybe we don't have to. Maybe they already know. But there's something about hearing it. I heard that the last sense that goes away when you die is the sense of hearing. There must be a reason for that. Sakamoto, more than anyone, would know the power of sound, the power of hearing, and its ability to heal. And maybe he knew, with his deteriorating health, that this man who flew all the way to Japan needed to hear it at that moment. Maybe he saw something in Jungi that reminded him of his younger self, or maybe he simply knew that the world needs more of Jungi, and he must do what he can to keep Jungi going. So he said it. 2 powerful words, not because it was big or impressive, but because it was sincere. For you. Hi, thank you to everybody who's been sharing my videos. Thank you to everybody who's been recommending it to their friends, posting links on their social media. It's really helping a lot. Please continue requesting, leave a comment, or you can get in touch with me in any of the social media links that you see on your screen right now. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Okay, road to D-Day. It is some sort of an ars poetica. An ars poetica is the art of an artist that explains what his art is. So it examines Jungi as an artist, his relationship to his art, and his process of creating it. It's really 120 minutes of artistic immersion in the mind of Min Jungi. But don't think it's all sugar and spice. It's actually the opposite. It's 120 minutes almost of agony. But if you really want to understand him, it's the kind of agony that you will have to submit yourself to and then just wait until it releases you. But when it does, it's so glorious because you will get a better understanding of who Jungi is as an artist. So here are 10 important moments that I think will provide you a better understanding of what he went through, what he is going through, and what he will go through in pursuit of his art. I had a lot to say, but as I achieved so much, I forgot about them. Jungi said something similar when they announced the start of chapter 2. They really didn't know what else to say. They've said them all, and outgrown some. When they were younger, there's a lot of things they wanted to talk about. Anger, issues, criticisms about other people, their country, the world. It was their motivation to strive for success. But walking towards a dream means leaving where you came from, and that means setting yourself free from the anchor that keeps you in place. And that means you lose a little bit of control. Waves, ripples, tsunami can suck you in and throw you to places you don't even know existed. That could change you. The way you think, your opinions, your principles. Sometimes it's just so you can survive, but sometimes it's just how you evolve. That's what Jungi experienced. As they run towards their dreams and started achieving them, and then some, many of the things, problems, issues that they used to have actually got solved. Many of their complaints stopped becoming relevant. Their needs changed. Their priorities changed. And they changed. And we all experienced this. When we were younger, we had a vision of what we wanted to be, the impact that we wanted to make, people that we wanted to help. But as we journey towards our dream, we lose sight of who we were. We set ourselves free from the anchor. We lose our reason, our purpose, our reason to even exist. He grew old. The moment you stop dreaming, that's when you start growing old. You've heard this before. As you grow older, you just stop caring about things. But not caring about things also could mean you care less about other people, which means you stop striving to make things better for those who don't care. You need to dream big, want more if you want to continue making an impact. Jungi grew up fast. What others take a lifetime to achieve, he held in his hand at 25. And when you have everything, what else is there to work for? I didn't intend to do this. Yoongi wasn't prepared for his destination. He simply wanted to make music, and their group was suddenly being revered for making such a huge economic contribution. They were actually so big that they were put in the same league as Korea's biggest companies. But of course, that came with a price. And the truth is that we are rarely prepared for the fulfillment of our dreams. We usually create an image of the world we want to be a part of, an ideal one, a perfect one for us. But we don't really imagine the other side of that dream. The sleepless night, the toll it will take on our bodies and mind, the people that we will lose, and the haters we will gain. That's why many of those who made it to the top at some point actually swerved uncontrollably. How many pop stars in the US have turned to illegal drugs, committed crimes, lost their minds, and others? You can just relate it to yourself. When you got promoted or you got to the school that you wanted, you suddenly find yourself with new responsibilities. Suddenly, there's politics. People who didn't get promoted will feel slighted, and you feel it. They make you feel it. You are a product of envy. Maybe you get to your dream school and there are evil professors. You probably have no friends. There are people you don't like and people who don't like you. We never really fulfill our dreams. We accomplish things, but the dream we had will never be real. There was a moment in the film when he actually got to the top of the Red Rock Canyon and he suddenly asked, "Why is it flat up here?" It was genius because he wasn't expecting that. It was a telling scene. You don't get to the place you expected to be in. If you are anxious about success, why do you keep on working? Yoongi was agonizing over a song and at one point cursing at himself, punching pillows because he couldn't answer what Bang Shi-hyuk asked him. If you are anxious about success, why do you keep on working? And he seemed to have realized Bang was right. He can stop. He has enough to sustain himself even if he doesn't work another day. So why does he keep on working? Purpose. That's why he kept on doing what he was doing, because he now had a purpose. He decided to live his life for something bigger than himself, for music, for other people. And that's why he will never run out of reasons to get up in the morning now, because he now has a bigger purpose. And the truth is that if you live your life for just one person, especially if that one person is you, we're all flawed. At some point, we're going to do something wrong. We're going to lose our motivation. So that's what he did. He thought of other people. He thought of the armies who actually count on their music to find comfort, to use it as an escape, to entertain them. They're waiting for him and he doesn't want to let them down. He thought about music because it's something he loves and he really wants to contribute to its growth and evolution. He thought about other people that are also pursuing their dreams the same way he and BTS pursued theirs. He thought about other Asians who would constantly approach them and thank them, tell them that they now have better opportunities, they are better recognized because of BTS. In fact, in the movie, there was this one guy in Las Vegas who actually approached him and asked him, "Can I hug you? Because I just want to thank you because things are better because of you." Sure, he wasn't happy all the time, but that is proof eternal that happiness is sort of too glamorized nowadays. People seem to think that if they are not in a constant state of bliss, that they are being cheated of the kind of life that they're supposed to be living. The truth is that you will never be happy all the time. You might not even be happy most of the time. So unhappiness should not be a reason for you to stop doing what you're doing. Happiness is a result of something. So the cause, the purpose you need to have a purpose. And if you have purpose, you have peace. And somewhere along the way, you will find happiness. It's going to come and go, but you will find it. And that's what's keeping him going. Correct it forward. One important question he asked Sakamoto was how he managed to continue making music even after decades. Sakamoto said that he keeps making music because he was never satisfied with what he made. When he walks, someone flies. So he needs to keep on going to catch up. But he doesn't dwell on his past work, his mistakes in the past. He corrects on his present and future. He focuses on how he can make his next music better. He doesn't agonize over the music he has already released. He just tries to make a better one. And that's something that we can apply not just in our work, but in our relationships. The mistakes that we did in the past, we can't change those, but we can correct it in the future. It was that moment when you saw their connection click in place. These are two people who don't really care about sales, glitter, glamour, awards, or attention. They both love music, and they are both aware of what they have. And they both respect their gift way too much to even pen a song that contains nothing but their whole heart. For you, when Yoongi and Ryuichi Sakamoto, Yoongi's childhood hero, met, Sakamoto played something for Suga. Yoongi played something he prepared for Sakamoto. And then Sakamoto took a part of what Yoongi created and mixed it with his own. It was so beautiful. If love can be a melody, it would be that piece. When Sakamoto finished, he stood up, smiled at Yoongi, and very casually said, "For you." I cried. At first, I didn't really understand what made me cry, but later on, I realized that many of us rarely tell the people that we love that many of the things that we do, we actually do for them. And maybe we don't have to. Maybe they already know, but there's something about hearing it. I heard that the last sense that goes away when you die is the sense of hearing. There must be a reason for that. Sakamoto, more than anyone, would know the power of sound, the power of hearing, and its power to heal. Maybe he knew, with his deteriorating health, that this man who flew all the way to Japan needed to hear it at that moment. Or maybe he saw something in Yoongi that reminded him of his younger self. Or maybe he simply knew that the world needs more of Yoongi and he must do what he can to keep him going. So he said it. Two powerful words, not because it was big or impressive, but because it was sincere. For you. Depth. Road to D-Day documents Suga'S pilgrimage to the rediscovery of his own artistry, the consummation of his ars poetica. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't so much as the pressure of success. It's not even the dried up creativity. It's more of an empty arsenal. 9 years with BTS have exhausted his poetry. And although it would have probably been easy to just pay songwriters to give him songs which he can rap for, Yoongi was never that kind of an artist. His songs are an extension of him, a gift he leaves others, a legacy, not just of him, but of his experience. And he seems fully aware that what they have achieved is bigger than he is. He cannot and will not disrespect that journey by leaving substandard songs with juvenile poetry. So he digs deeper to his own voice again, his own thoughts, his own messages, his own heart. And surprisingly, he found it in other people. He found it in other people who, like who he was, are pursuing their own success, struggling to find their own place. So he penned them the thoughts that he wanted to hear when they were in their situation, but no one told them. He found it in other artists who are trapped in the expectations of perfection. He found it in other people who are suffering loss of a love or a loved one or the idea of love. Each song was a song for or about others. And that's how you know he truly has evolved. From simply talking about his own concerns, dreams, and experiences, he has started to create music for others and of others. But not in that commercial kind of way, but in that human kind of way. Yoongi was never the kind of artist who simply wants to shock people when he goes on stage or creates spectacular performances. He has always been the kind of artist that starts and ends with the messages of his art. But now that he stretched himself to reach out to others, He has gone above being an artist. He's reshaping artistry itself. Anxiety is your friend. Anxiety, depression, and misery is all part of life. In reality, no amount of therapy can make those things go away. It lingers, always threatening to take over you at every opportunity. You can't escape it. The only way for you to control it is to make it your friend. You need to learn how to turn pain into something beautiful, something that will benefit others. And that's what Jungi did. He made anxiety his friend. He made himself stronger emotionally and physically to be assured that while depression makes regular visits, he can and he will make it leave. So perhaps it's what we all have to learn. If we can't make depression leave, we need to make it our friend. We need to be able to control it so that it doesn't control us. You scar yourself. And this leads us to the last point. Jungi was very clear on what he wanted to say with amygdala. We inflict scars on ourselves. And that scar could freeze us in pain for the rest of our lives, or it could be a medal of our survival. The choice is ours to make. And that was the theme of this whole movie. Choice. Everything was really his choice. It was his choice to continue doing what he was doing because Bang Shiuk was right. He didn't have to. He could just stop. But he decided, no, this is something that I need to continue doing. He was unhappy, but he still decided he was going to stick to it. And he looked for a reason and motivation to continue doing what he was doing. He worked with other people, isolated himself, he drank, he exercised, he slept, he ran, he traveled, everything he could think of, just so he could find the motivation to continue doing what he was doing. I don't know, maybe he knew how gifted he was, that he had something special in him. In fact, in his own words, he said, how many things in your life can you do for 12 to 13 hours, 14 hours a day? At some point, you're going to get sick of things. So it's a matter of deciding. Do you want to continue doing this? If you do, you need to work on it, right? Like a relationship. You will never be happy all the time in a relationship. But if you make the decision to stick it through, you need to find the reason to stay in that relationship. And he did that with his music. Just as and even after everything is done, when the album is done, everything was still under his control. He made every decision, the tour, the music videos, everything, the promotions. And just as a caveat, there's this scene there with Jimin. You've seen this in The Soup, where Jimin heard him working on a song. So Jimin went inside the trailer where he was working, and they proceeded to talk about the music he was making, which turned out to be Amygdala. And it was one of the most intimate scenes of BTS ever captured on camera, because these are two people bonding over something they're both very passionate about. And they were talking substance. They were working on something they both love. What could be more intimate than that? And I think that is why their impact will never be surpassed or equal, because these are not just a group of people that are good in doing music. A group of people that is good in doing music. They respect their art. They respect their art. They respect the people that are allowing them to do it, and they respect the people that are supporting them as they do it. They live for something bigger than themselves, and they keep on wanting to fly higher, but it's not just for themselves, but it's also for other people. They respect their art. And they know what they can do, and they're trying very carefully to use it for something bigger. He ended the movie the way that he started his album, which I think is a genius, which is D-Day. He was singing about how everything is going to be okay, and if you think about it, he's actually right. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be perfect or that you're going to be happy all the time, but it does mean that if you just continue doing what you're doing, find your purpose, continue motivating yourself, at some point you're going to be happy. It's probably going to be temporary, but it's going to be worth it. And maybe that's something that we should take on as well, to live our life for a purpose and not just for ourselves. and that's Suga for you. That is just 10 of, when I actually listed them down, I had like 30, but this video is gonna go on forever. So, all right, I would love to hear your thoughts if you watched the video, the Weverse release and the movie. Please leave them in the comment section below. You can also get in touch with me in any of the social media links that you see on your screen right now. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Till next time.